Today, the latest weapons, coupled with the fighting skill of the American soldier, stand ready, on the alert all over the world to defend this country, you, the American people, against aggression. This is The Big Picture, an official television report to the nation from the United States Army. Now, to show you part of the big picture, here is Sergeant Stuart Queen.
We often think of an Army division merely as being a vast, impersonal organization of men and equipment. Yet to the men who form its ranks, each division possesses a distinct character all its own. To them, the division is a source of pride, a singular team to which they belong. It is their division. And so it is with the men of the 25th Infantry Division who took part in the story you are about to see. The story of their Tropic Lightning Division in Korea.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host today, Mariano Big Dog. I'm an actor, former Navy veteran, Desert Storm era. And today, my special guest is decorated infantry corporal Jesus Rodriguez from the Korean War. We're going to hear about his heroism, his actions, how he received the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, the Purple Hearts. Those are some of the highest medals you can receive in military during combat. So for not further ado, let's hear it straight from the mouth of Jesus Rodriguez on the first place where he was at and where the war started in Korea.
Okay, we'll start off with, my name is Jesus Rodriguez. I'm 88 years old. Why did I join the service? I wasn't a very good student when I was growing up, so consequently, I wanted to get away from school. I wanted to get away from class. So when I was around 15 years old, I decided I wanted to go into service right after the Second World War. Now, at the time, I didn't know it, but if you went in the Army and you went through basic, which at that time it was 17 weeks of basic, if you didn't pass basic, you would be let out. They send you home. They give you a ticket to go home. And I wasn't about to come home. I joined the Army at the Motor Day building in downtown LA, and they gave us a ticket for a meal, and they put us on the train. And that was my first train ride from Los Angeles to Salinas. And we left in the evening and got there in the morning, and it was real foggy. Then they bused us to Fort Ord, and this is the first time that I've been away from home, so everything was new to me, you know. And I was excited. I was away from home, and we stayed in these empty barracks for about a week till they could muster enough people to form a company. And after that, once the company got formed, then they started the processing system. They run you through physicals. They give you all the shots. Then they run you through to get your uniform, your clothing. I think I got 2 pair of boots, 2 pair of shoes, tennis shoes. They put us on a ferry in Pittsburgh, California, and they gave us a box lunch, and we went down on the ferry and it docked in Oakland. And that ferry, when they moored and they tied in, was rocking a little bit already, you know, with the water. And all these guys started to get seasick before they even got on the ship. They were on the ferry and they were getting seasick.
Wow.
You know. And the other thing was that I don't know how I did it, but all my possession was in a duffel bag, you know, and you got everything, and then you had to carry it, and that was a big thing. You had to go up a gangplank to get on the ship. Anyway, when we got on the ship, they tried to get everybody signed up for details. And I had already learned that I don't want nobody to know my name. And I don't want nobody to know me. So if they put you on a detail, like a KP, they take your dog tags away from you. They wouldn't give them away. You wouldn't give them back till you got off the ship. So I get assigned to the 29th Regimental Combat Team in Okinawa. Now this regiment was the only protecting the whole island, and it was that was all the infantry that was there. Anyway, the company commander says, "I'm sending you to leadership school." So when I come back the first week, he calls me and he says, "How you doing?" I says, "I'm doing good. I should be back next week." And he says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I got 75 demerits." And he had a smile, and all of a sudden the pan face changed. And he looked at me and he said, "You son of a bitch. If you don't pass that school, you better not come back to this company because your ass will be mine." So he scared the shit out of me, you know. So I've been hammering a few beers. I sobered up. When I went back, I went to the guy who was in charge of the school. His name was Sergeant Hart. I said, "Sergeant Hart, it's a matter of life and death. I got to pass this course." And he said, "It's up to you." And after that, bam, I'd hit it, you know. I passed the school and I came back. The reason that, one of the reasons was that I got the Silver Star was that I held back the enemy, and their objective was to go through our line, come down the hill, and hit the headquarters where all the officers were, and communications and what have you. So by holding them off, it didn't happen. But anyway, that's how I got the Silver Star. And I didn't know that I got it till later on when I came back to the States. I got called to the orderly room and they told me that I had received the Silver Star.
Now when you get the silver, who gives you that actually? The commander?
I
the
think,
president gives
no,
it to you?
I think that it was put in by my platoon leader, the one that was in charge. He wrote it up. And then it goes to the Army, and the Secretary of the Army he's the one that signed it off. So it was a great honor, being a Mexican, you know, just.
Yeah, that's, a lot of people don't know that there was a lot of Latino, a lot of Mexicans that served, you know, like in your platoon. How many were there? Was there like half or?
What, Mexicans?
Mexicans,
oh,
yeah.
No. We were,
10 of them?
No, we probably were maybe 8 in the company.
Oh.
They used to segregate them, you know, they didn't put all the Mexicans in one. They tried to put a few in each company. And then they didn't want you to talk in Spanish.
Oh.
And the other thing was, you couldn't remember all the Mexican guys' names, you know, but if you see a guy, hey, puto, you know.
Juanito, Jose,
Yeah,
Pancho.
puto, hey, puto, how are you, you know. But when we got together, you know, in the beer garden or something, they'd always bring out a guitar and we'd always have a good time.
Now, how did you get your Purple Hearts? Because that's usually when when you get wounded, right? Purple Heart.
Yep.
You got
Okay.
2 Purple Hearts.
No, I got 1 Purple Heart.
Okay.
That was enough.
That was enough. That's fine.
I didn't want another.
Right. For the injury.
Anyway, what happened was we were getting ready for the Chinese to start the spring offensive. And once again, we were at the Iron Triangle. And I remember that I was afraid every day. I mean, and I prayed every day. Sometimes a guy would ask me, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "Shut up, I'm praying." You know, I used to pray out loud to the Lord.
Yeah, I would too, especially during war. Yeah.
I had a premonition. I was always scared, but this one particular day, I knew something was going to happen to me. And I had a buddy that I grew up with and went into service with, but he was stationed in Busan at quartermaster. So that afternoon, I sat down and wrote him a letter. And his name was Gilbert. I said, "Gil, I feel that something's going to happen to me. And I just want you to know." And sure enough, the next morning, we had an attack. I was next to a tank, and all of a sudden, there was mortar rounds coming in, and they say that the one that hits you never hear it, because mortars do make noises. So I got hit with a mortar round. I got hit in my right thigh, and when it hit me, I always had the feeling, how would I act with my peer? Would I holler? Would I cry? Who would I cry to? Would I cry to the Lord or cry to my mother? Or would I cry? Just lose it. But when it hit me, it felt like a hot snake coming up my leg. And I looked down, and my foot was completely turned around. One foot was heading south, and the other one was heading north.
Wow.
And as I stepped, the blood that had run down in my boot would squish out the top. And in a way, it was a relief, because I knew that I could endure the pain, and I didn't cry, because some guys would start bawling, and I didn't want to cry in front of my squad.
Right.
But when I got hit, I reached out to some of the guys in my squad with my hand, and they just pushed my hand down and kept on walking. Before I knew it, I was out there by myself, and it was like being in the theater at night when they turn the lights off. All of a sudden, he comes up to me and he says, "Jesus, are you hurt?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Do you need help?" I said, "Yes." So he got under my shoulder and we tried to walk. And he said, "Let me go up to a tank and see if they could help us." So he ran up to the tank and he banged on the tank. And the guy unhatched the latch on top, and he looked out and he looked at him and he said, "What do you want, nigger?" And he said, "I have a wounded man." And he said, "Is he black?" I said, "No." So bring him over here. So he got me over there and he looked at me and he said, "Okay, yeah, throw him, help him up on the back of the tank." So we got up there and I laid down on the back over there, and he started to climb up and said, "Not you, nigger." So I told the guy, "Hey, man, everybody run off and left me, and this guy stayed behind to help me, and now you're telling him he can't get on?" He said, "All right." So he got on. I'm losing blood, and I start spinning, and I would pass out. Then I would wake up. When I woke up this one time, the Sergeant Hart says, Jesus, I want you to shoot me. And he started to hand me his 45. And I said to myself, I can't do this. He says, they shot my vitals off. And I'm not a man anymore, you know. So I said to myself, I can't do it. But then I started spinning. I passed out again. And when I wake up, he's dead already. He bled to death. At that time, they're giving orders on this half track. Get that gook at 1 o'clock. The turret turned around and bang, 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 bang. The shells are coming down and falling on the deck. Scaring the shit out of me. Look out at 3 o'clock. There's another one. And then, finally, the commander of the half track says, we got to get these guys, these wounded, out of here because we can't do our job. We can't, they're going to run up on us and throw hand grenades, so we got to get them off. So they put me in the litter jeep. And on the litter jeep, the driver, he was scared more than anything. He would drive down, and then they were firing, and he would stop and jump in the gully. And then an officer came by in the jeep and asked me, I was tied down in the litter. He says, where's the driver? I said, down in the gully. So he told him, get up here and get this guy going. So we had to go through a gullet of 8 miles. And the enemy was on both sides of the mountains, and they were shooting at us. So the guy drives down, he stops again, jumps in the gully. In the meantime, this jeep comes by with these Turks, and the Turks take me off that jeep and put me on their jeep, and the guy gives me a shot of morphine, and we take off. We catch up with the company, and I'm really pissed off at them, what happened. I told them, fuck, you don't talk to me, They left me behind. And so they take me to an aid station, and right away they put a tag on my toe. They put me on the runway. We were waiting for a plane to come in. And they put me on the airplane. And I had never been in an airplane before that. And it was an eye-opener because there's nothing but aluminum and rivets that hold it together. And we're taking off, and we're going to Japan. And then there's a storm. And this plane lights up with the lightning. It lights it up like those Frankenstein movies, And then they hit air pockets and you drop, and say, oh, God.
What kind of plane was it? A C-130?
C-54.
Oh, C-54.
Yeah, there's nothing to do it. Just straps and they hold the litters in there,
Oh, transportation, weapons, tanks?
No, it just carries personnel. They didn't carry no tanks or nothing in those. So I end up going to Osaka Hospital, and when we came into to Osaka, they had so many wounded that they had a caravan of wounded ambulances going through town. And the Japanese came out, and as we came by, they would bow, I said, oh, wow. And it was raining, and there was such an influx of wounded that at the hospital that they didn't have beds available right away, so they laid me out in the hallway. And then finally they had a bed, so they put me on the bed, and all of a sudden about 6 Japanese girls come in, and start taking my clothes off, and I said, what's going on? We're going to give you a sponge bath, so I said, okay.
You were happy, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, the next morning, the person in charge of the ward was a a lieutenant, a big fat lady, you know, and she came in the morning and she said, how's it going, soldier? I said, well, great. I thought I was in heaven last night. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, all these little angels were giving me a sponge bath. That really pissed her off. She said, oh, you GIs are all the same. So, here comes the funny punchline. So I'm in there, and the doctor's coming around every day, and he says, you know what we're going to do with you is we're going to give you wet bandages, and we're not going to take that shrapnel out of your leg because we may do more harm than good. Right. So I said, okay. So I said, well, can you do me a favor? He said, well, I've been on the front. I've never been. I need a pass. I need to work down. And he said, yeah, we can arrange that. So I get a pass, and I go with crutches. Anyway, I lose the crutches. I get drunk. I get in the wrong train. And I had a Cinderella pass, but it meant I had to get back in there. Oh. So anyway, I ended up getting back around 2 o'clock. And as I'm coming in, I pass this restaurant or beer joint, and I steal a bicycle. And I'm pedaling to get into camp, and the owners on the bike are running after me, you know. So anyway, I make it to the MP station there, and I drop the bike, and I hobble in, and that nurse is a CQ, that big fat nurse, you know, the one that didn't like me from the start. So she said, you know what? You go through those double doors, and you take a shower. And if you're not out in 2 minutes, I'm coming in and getting you. So I went in there and I was drunk, you know, I was just bouncing off the walls. She came to the door and she said, what did I tell you? And I hollered back at her, come and get me. That was it. And that's how I got my Purple Heart.
Incredible story.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Anything that happened to anything that could happen happened to me there. The first month that I was there, the first couple of days, I got sunburned. It was so bad that you couldn't even touch. I got malaria. I got dysentery. I got pneumonia. Wow. And you could, they wouldn't evacuate you if you weren't wounded. You had to stay and fight. And my biggest problem was that if I coughed, that would give you a position away, you know. So I was trying to, and not only that, somebody in my platoon might shoot me just to shut me up, you know. Wow. It was a miracle over there. Then I got frostbite. Wow. My feet got frostbite, and these hillbillies took my shoes off and my socks, and they walked me in the snow, and then they massaged my feet till I got circulation again. Well, it was bad.
So you had all that going on while you were fighting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. Most people, soldiers couldn't. I don't know how much they can take, but thank God you didn't lose your toes from the frostbite.
Right.
And malaria, that could kill you too.
Yeah. Well,
you know. Wow, that's a miracle. God was looking out for you, that's for sure.
Okay, these are some of the books that I have that mention my unit and myself. And the way I cataloged them was I put these strips, and I could move into. I was talking earlier about North Haymon, which was a village on the Necktown River, and Haymon was mostly rugged terrain, on the necktie front. Here's a story right here that we were talking about. If you want to just, there's my picture, and then this story, and then you can read it. Phantom.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Gotta keep in shape.